Hey, what's up guys? This is going to be a long-term review of this Netgear Orbi RBK752. So I've done other reviews on this. I've also done a setup guide on how to connect it with literally showing you guys all the different ways of connecting it with Ethernet switches, modems, and the different configurations, wired, wireless backhaul. I'll put those links in the description below. So if you guys are interested, check those out. And while you're down there, smash that subscribe button and hit the like button as well if you guys enjoy this video. So I've had this for quite some time, I want to say over a year or so, and I've used it on and off for 3 to 4 months, reason being I'm continuously testing new mesh Wi-Fis and routers. So this one was one of the longer ones that I've used, and I've had no issues with it in that time frame. But since then I've moved, I'm in a more open area now, I have other newer Wi-Fi devices and stuff, so I retested everything. So let's jump straight in, starting with the specs. So you get one router and you get one satellite. So looking at the router, we have 4 ports. We have the WAN port dedicated for your internet, and we have 3 other gigabit ports. These are all gigabit. However, I have not tried this, but you can use link aggregation to get faster than gigabit if you use both of these ports for the WAN. You also have a factory reset, and your power plug and your sync button right here. And the satellite has less ports. It has 2 gigabit ports, the power and a reset, and your sync button right here. So this thing is designed to cover up to 5,000 square feet. It is a tri-band mesh system with the speed rating of AX4200, which that speed rating is a summation of all 3 bands. So you have a 2.4 and you have 2 5 gigahertz bands, making it a tri-band system. And if you guys are wondering, for the smart parental controls, that does require a subscription with the Orbi, which is kind of common for most mesh systems, which is surprising to me. However, Asus does offer for free. TP-Link also has different tiers, but one of their tiers is also free. And there are some other examples. Now, jumping to the internet speed test, no matter how fast your router is, when you're accessing the internet, you are limited by your internet speeds, whatever you're paying for to your ISP, your internet service provider. In my case, that would be 940 megabits per second download and 880 megabits per second upload. And notice I said megabits per second, not megabytes per second, because 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. So there's a huge difference in those numbers, and all the numbers I tell you guys are going to be in megabits per second. So when I do the speed test with my computer hooked up via Ethernet to this thing, I get those full speeds no problem. However, with the Wi-Fi devices, that's typically a different story. Looking at the iPhone results, there is a drastic reduction in speed, and the same is true for the Wi-Fi 6E devices, however not quite as bad. And I have noticed that Wi-Fi 6E devices typically do better than Wi-Fi 6 devices, even when you're using a mesh Wi-Fi 6 system and it's not on that 6 gigahertz band, which this does not support. Now, to find out the true capabilities of this mesh system, I removed my ISP and the public speed test server from the equation by making my computer into a local speed test server. So I go from phone to router to computer, isolating the router, which results in much better speeds, as you guys can see, especially in the upload section in the single router configuration. The same is true for the wired backhaul configuration, very similar numbers. And what amazed me the most about this mesh system was the wireless backhaul configuration. And I should mention, both for the wired and wireless backhaul configuration, I am doing the speed test from the satellite, so from the secondary device. So I essentially go from phone to satellite to router to computer. So I'm testing it on the secondary node, and the wireless backhaul on this thing was better, much better than what I was anticipating, especially because of its speed rating. So it did phenomenal for that. Now moving on to range test. Now range will vary based on location. If you're in between floors, if you have a lot of walls, thick walls, if you're in a building with a lot of other routers around, a lot of other interference, this is all going to hurt your range. So I'm now more of an open area, and as you guys can see from my range test, at 20 feet inside my place, very good speeds, hardly a drop. At 50 feet, this is when I'm outside, there is a drop, but you know, it is going through a wall or two to get to the outside. And then at 100 feet, I cross the street, and essentially this goes all the way up to 250 feet. So it did very well, and my ping and jitter at the farthest distance was ping was 7 milliseconds and jitter was 1 millisecond. So just as a heads up, it was still usable. Granted, I mean, when you're going that far away and when you're getting these speeds, the phone does want to cut to just your regular mobile data. Now, there are two ways of configuring and changing settings on the Orbi. One is through the Orbi app, which is available both on iOS and on Android. And the second is through the browser, which I think you go to orbilogin.com, and that gives you more options. So if you want to really customize it, that's where you want to go. Now, is it worth getting these? Why or why not? Well, I would say it depends on your situation. This would be a good fit for internet speeds of up to gigabit, whether you're using wired or wireless backhaul. Now, I recommend wired backhaul. That's what I use, but that's not always possible. And the wireless backhaul on this thing did better than what I was anticipating. I mean, it is a tri-band, so I was expecting some pretty good speeds, but it did better than that. So, big plus for that. And the range test was also pretty good, went all the way up to 250 feet. It did start slowing down at around 140 feet, but still did fairly well. But let me know what you guys think in the comment sections below. And as always, smash that subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit the bell for your notifications. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one.